Hopefully my connection stays. Okay, so like I was saying, I would like to take these new team Zooms into a new direction that really focuses and sheds light on who we are as a team and the community that we already have built that we get to utilize, because I don't feel like we're getting to know each other well enough. I don't feel like we're interacting enough. I feel like we've gone kind of this direction of highlighting a lot of the business side of Beachbody and not highlighting a lot of the other really valuable things like the community and the support and the fact that we're real people. And just because we use social media does not mean that we can't interact with each other like we would if we were in person. And so a lot of these Zooms going forward are really going to be set up so that we interact and so that we all interact and so that I'm not the only person talking. So I came to this Zoom with a couple of questions in mind, and that's what I was doing with the topic of confidence, mainly because it just came up a lot with the personal development that was going on. And, you know, it's really easy for me to kind of talk about any subject, even stuff that I'm not really familiar with or 150% comfortable talking about with. And, but because of personal development and where a lot of the coaches seem to be, confidence seemed to be like a really good idea. So I'm going to really quickly post a question over here, and I'd like to get your guys' responses when you can. So so let me know if you guys can see these. Alicia says hello, so I know you can see it. That's awesome. And then also, because confidence is a really good topic for me personally to talk about right now. And that is because I just got an email, actually literally 5 minutes ago. I went to text it to Kim because I'm flying to Nashville with her in 2 weeks. And I know she's going to be like either feeding me drinks or doing whatever she can basically to make sure that I get on the plane already. And then I just got an email from corporate that says I get to walk across the stage and be recognized for going 2-star diamond. And I literally want to puke. Like, I can't really feel my arms right now. And I have no idea where it stems from. But it's this lack of confidence. Am I going to fall flat on my face? Am I going to make a fool of myself? Who wants to see me be recognized on stage at Summit? What is the whole grand scheme idea behind that anyway? And that is literally something that if I let it get too, if I let myself get too deep into that thought, I would literally get off the plane again. I got off the plane last year going to Summit. It was overwhelming for me. I didn't know anybody there. I was going alone. And I literally on the tarmac got off the plane, and I have this lack of confidence. But the thing that I choose to do with it is grow from it. I literally have chosen in the last year to recognize the things in the areas in my life that make me feel a little bit insecure, and I do them anyway. And the way I do it is, this might sound really weird or creepy, is I talk to myself a lot. Maybe not out loud, but I consistently say in my head over and over again, you're okay. You are okay. What is the worst thing that's going to happen to you? And my friend Rachel, she told me, well, answer it. Don't just ask yourself that question, answer it. And you start to kind of work through these irrational thoughts that come when you're feeling a lack of confidence in yourself. And once you start to answer those questions, you start to feel more confident. That lack of confidence starts to kind of become irrational to you. So you start to kind of ignore it. and you do the thing or you say the thing that you feel the urge to do or say, but for whatever reason, your lack of self-confidence is holding you back. It happens probably every day for me that I, say these things to myself in my head. I tell myself that I'm fine. I can do this. I'm really okay. Another example of this is we live out on a ranch now, and it's a lot of responsibility. We have to move water every day to make sure that our fields are watered. And we have snakes here. I'm terrified of snakes. I'm terrified of them. And I was on the phone with Emily actually, and I was out in the fields moving water, and I came across a snake, and I don't know what it was that I calmly kept my composure, paid attention to what kind it was, and walked around it. And I'm on the phone with her, I just need a minute. I'm either going to freak out or I got to know what kind of snake this is, and then we can keep talking because I'm not paying attention to you, basically. And what I think the reason why I was able to do that is because this is something that I've been working on for years, my self-confidence. And it's, you don't need a lot of confidence to confront a snake, right? But I was able to get out of my own way, to take that irrational fear that I was feeling over this little snake and no, it's not going to hurt me if I just go around it and leave it alone. If I was a rattlesnake, you could bet that it would be dead by now. But it's a habit. So you do these things consistently to build your confidence, and just like a bad habit, it becomes a good habit and it's hard to break. So you have to start talking to yourself more positively in a kind of like a self-empowering kind of way. Because let me just talk to you about what credentials you need in order to be a confident person. Okay. So say you're somebody who has a degree, a college degree. Let's say you don't even have a master's, you have a 4-year degree. Or let's say, you have a master's degree. You would think that whatever that person has a degree in has some confidence to speak about whatever is their specialty is, right? That's awesome for them, but I'll bet you that they have insecurities too. I bet you that if you go into a Babies R Us, that every single mother there has an opinion and feels like she's confident and able to talk about raising kids to you, even though she probably doesn't know you, because you build up this confidence. If you've raised up some healthy kids, they're happy, you feel like you've gone through these experiences and you are damn well qualified to talk about kids and raising babies, even to strangers. I'll guarantee you there's someone there that's probably talked to you and you didn't want them to. But there is still probably something that person is insecure about that doesn't have anything to do with, raising a family. If you've been married, that's kind of hard to talk to because we all have these different types of relationships and each person is their own and each relationship is so special. But I'll bet you that there are some things that you think you know better than when it comes to your husband and you. Like you have these little disagreements. And I'll bet you that you are really confident in standing in what you believe in, especially when you're talking to husband. That is confidence in being able to talk to someone about something that you believe in. But I will still guarantee you that wife or spouse has insecurities. And so those things that I've mentioned, those are not things that basically should be considered the credentials that you need to have confidence to talk to people. If you've had life experiences, maybe you think that people who have confidence have had life experiences beyond yours, and that's where their confidence comes from. There's still something that they're insecure about. All you need, the only one and only qualification that you need to have confidence is the fact that you are a human being and you are your own person, and there is no other value like you in this world. What you have to say matters beyond measure. You will never know when you say the one thing that really means something to someone else. So say it more often. Be yourself more openly and freely. And I mean, you may not feel the reciprocation, and you may not see that you being you is a value in front of you, but just know that you are helping people by being yourself. It's either by being relatable or by making someone feel like they're normal. If you are a human, you're qualified to be confident in who you are. So you need to start really, building yourself up and reminding yourself of that every single day. Even people who have lots of credentials lack confidence because we all have insecurities, and we don't all know it all. There's nobody that I've ever met that I haven't learned something from who doesn't know it all. So keep that in mind when you're talking to people or when you're living your life. Everybody out there has got to where they are by growing and learning and having experiences. And that's where confidence comes from. You ever know that person who's like never wrong? That one person who's just like, my mom was kind of like that. And oh my gosh, this is recorded and will be posted in the team page, and she's in our team page. So sorry, Mom, if you ever watch this, but my mom was one of those people that was never, ever wrong. I don't even remember a time in my youth that she apologized. Her and my dad didn't necessarily get along all the time, but I think they lived a pretty stressful life. But I never once heard her apologize. She would argue with someone until they were blue in the face and never admit that she was wrong. She always had some language that looped out of the argument and made her right. Those people are wrong. They just don't admit it. So that person who's never wrong, but I feel like they lack the confidence to admit that they are wrong. Because what happens when you admit that you're wrong is kind of like this total, it's like a shock to your, if you're that way, especially, it's like the shock when you finally do admit that you're wrong. It's like an embarrassment almost. And you kind of feel completely and utterly insecure once you've admitted that you're wrong. And the thing is we're infallible people, or we're not infallible. We're human beings. We're going to be wrong. And the easier it is for you to admit that you're wrong, the easier you can grow in the opportunity. And those people who never think they're wrong are just missing out on a lot of growth in life. And they do lack confidence, or they would be willing to admit that they were wrong. So I asked the question before I keep going through my notes. And so I asked, when do you doubt yourself the most? Alicia said, when I'm stressed. So when it comes to stress, you kind of have to pay attention. Ask yourself your question, for me, when I'm stressed, I write stuff down. And I need to know what I'm stressed about and how I'm going to no longer be, like, what will end the stress for me. And you kind of have to get through from, why I'm stressed and how I will no longer be stressed, from point A to point B logistically. Writing things out for me helps me no longer feel stressed, but I don't really ever, I feel like confidence and stress, like if I'm nervous, that's one thing, but stress doesn't really ever make me lose confidence unless I am unprepared. So if you can figure out how to get from A to B, you're prepared because you've got kind of a plan. So find out, pay attention to what stresses you out and figure out how to get from A to B and do those things, because it helps deplete the stress when you have a plan, if that makes any sense. And if that didn't, Alicia, feel free to make another comment. Emily said, when I begin to succeed, ironic, right? That's huge for a lot of people. And I'm one of those people too. I feel like success is scary, because what do you do when you succeed? Do you get new Do you get new obligations? Are you more responsible? Are more people looking up to you? Therefore, you feel like you have more people you're going to let down. I mean, fear of success is a huge thing. A lot of times what holds us back from fear of success is the feeling of like, am I really good enough to do that? To be that successful or to succeed. And that's just a lot of, for me anyway, I feel like that's a lot of positive self-talk and finding out exactly who you are and what you want. Like, define success. It's different for everyone. If that means for you, being a 15-star diamond coach, you want that kind of success. I'm just using that example because, coaching is on my mind. You got to decide like that it's either worth it or it's not. Like, what do you want out of that success? Like, and if it's, that's a hard one. In all honesty, I feel like I just did a Zoom on this too. Like, what if I succeed? This fear, it comes from a lot of irrational, hypothetical questions about what your success looks like and what your success will demand from you. And that's my opinion anyway, because, if it was someone who was like, let's say a lawyer who's like super successful, they're going to get super busy. They're going to have liabilities. They're going to have lots of people demanding stuff from them. It's going to add stress to their life, potentially. That's as if, if you're a lawyer. But you have to decide, what's the success? Is the success in a lawyer, is that like winning cases for people and serving injustice situations? Because that makes it worth it, right? For me, success as a Beachbody coach means that I want to actively interact with as many people as I can who feel like, for whatever reason, a healthy lifestyle is too difficult and they're not capable. But it's scary to talk to strangers, right? But it's worth it to talk to as many people as I can so that I can help those people who really need it. So that kind of success is worth it. And, like anything else, you have to kind of ignore those hypothetical questions that play on in your head. Catherine said, when I'm overwhelmed, stressed, feeling like I have too much going on, when I feel like I'm not doing things properly right, when I feel like I don't know what I am saying or doing. You know what? The coolest thing is the more you do, the more you actively face your fear of whatever it is, the less of a fear it becomes. So if you feel like you're doing things improperly, keep doing them. How else are you going to learn? If you feel like you have too much stuff going on, you need to prioritize your life and get rid of the stuff that's just excess baggage. A lot of times I'm one of those people who feels like I can do it all. And I have learned the hard way that I'm not. I'm not a multitasker. I can do a couple of things, and then I feel like once I've got a lot of high priority things or important things going on in my life, I start to crumble. So you have to make sure that you're doing the things that are most important to you and you're not trying to do everything. And also you need to, I'm going to talk about stress in just a second because I will totally go off on topic. So stay until the end for that stress thing and remind me. Kim, yes, when I started to succeed, see progress, and also when I'm exercising in front of others, that's improved some, but still one of the biggest things I doubt the most, like my ability to leave a PIO class, etc. Eek. Maybe she meant lead a PIO class. That goes back to just doing it anyway. You do it. The reason why you do it anyway is when you're in that moment and you have that thought that goes into your mind that's telling you like, why do these people want to watch me? What if I stumble and fall? What if I can't motivate them? What if I am doing this PIO class and I accidentally do the wrong exercise, right? Like, that's one of my biggest fears is like, because I mean, like, you're going to have all these people watching you And what if you're like, okay, do push-ups, and you, for some whatever reason, start doing like sit-ups, and you don't even, you just are overthinking it too much, because I do that all the time. I say the wrong word, and it confuses people, and then I start to feel myself get red and sweaty, and I'm like, I don't even know where I left off. Do it anyway. You have to keep going forward. What makes you different than anyone else who's ever been there before is the fact that they just kept going and learning. And the thing is like I said, we're all human. We don't do things perfectly like robots. We make mistakes, we fall on our faces, and we get up and we keep going forward to grow. I'm not going to be the best PIO instructor right off the bat, even though Chalene Johnson herself teaches me. I have to keep doing a class and teach it and get better and build my confidence in it. And your feedback, what is great about feedback from people is if you're open and admitting to these insecurities that you have, people will always come to your rescue. And they will remind you of what you did well, and they will compliment you, and they will thank you for whatever it is that you did. And they will, that human compassionate nature that we all have built within us keeps us feeling like we're normal and we can do things that scare us, because we just feel love and support in return. So do the things and say the things that you feel like you might make a fool of yourself by doing or saying, and then just keep getting better at it, and let the compassion from up, I guess. Sorry, Mom. Seriously. Emily jumped on for a minute and had to go. Bye-bye. Actions, quiet, fear, doubt. That's exactly right. So I swear every time I have a fear, I just do it anyway. And that's part of my notes is when I'm talking to myself, like, it's okay, you're going to be okay. Just do it anyway. I always follow through and do it anyway. And what happens on the other side of that behavior is that two things. You realize that it wasn't so scary in the first place. And two, you develop the habits to build confidence in yourself. What is the worst thing that's going to happen from all of these fears that we let control our decisions that hold us back? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? So really quickly, let me just mention a couple of things. Being scared doesn't go away. So if you're thinking that being confident means that you're not scared, you're wrong. Being confident, honestly, I don't even know if that's a real thing, being confident, because all confidence is someone who approaches their insecurities and does it anyway. It's just looking at fear and choosing how it's going to dictate your life or not. So keep that in mind. And you choose what holds you back in life. And that's a mind over matter kind of thing. So if you're going to let an insecurity hold you back, that's fine, but be willing to work on it so that pretty soon in your life, it's not holding you back anymore. I'm going to ask one more question before I talk about this over here. And please, so that's like a 3-part question. Sorry. So feel free to answer that over there in the chat section while I talk to you a little bit about what fear can do for you. So I was born in the country. I was born in a little tiny town called Prairie City. It didn't have a hospital, so we had to go to a bigger town. And when I was 7, my parents moved to Portland. They were, scared to the very core, being from small towns themselves. But that's where I grew up. But because all of my family was still in this small town in Eastern Oregon, I went back all the time. I spent my summers from the time I was a little kid, swimming in rivers and catching crawdads and riding horses and spending time on my cousin's ranch moving cows, and would return to the city for the school year. So I have country in my blood. It's who I am. Nothing against my parents. Sorry, Mom, again, apparently. Nothing against my parents. Oh my God, there's a cow out. Speaking of which, right here off my deck. That's cool. My life is crazy. Anyway, no offense to my parents for raising me in a city. I don't have any regrets about being raised there. I feel like it taught me a lot. It equipped me with a lot of life skills. It's who I am. I'm fine with it. But I always felt like if I was going to raise a family, I would want to do it in a small town. The thing about living in a small town is you're not going to find a lucrative career in a small town. In fact, a majority of the town that we live in now is living in poverty, probably over 95%. And there is nobody here that is on some kind of healthcare program. We all pay for Obamacare, which is scary because Obamacare, if you're not on it, is expensive. I think while Nate was part-time working still the first year we were out here, we paid over $800 a month in health insurance for a family of 4. So moving out into the middle of nowhere for us meant giving up a career at Caltech for Nate that was full of security. It was one of the best companies in the United States to work for. It came with a lot of retirement packages and benefits and, the works. And he also made a very nice living that made it so that I could stay at home with our kids, which was also something that I knew I would want as a mom. But living in the city, when I went to, and I am not trying to offend anybody because we all have our own walk of life. We all came from a certain background. You will not understand the circumstances in which I felt I needed to raise a family in the country, just like I wouldn't understand someone who would work a career full-time and hire someone permanently to raise their kids. I get it. We are all different. And there are pros and cons to every walk of life, and we're going to learn stuff from each other. But for me, I felt guilty staying in the city and choosing security over values that I don't feel you can get or focus on in a big city. I was struggling big time living in the city, trying to keep up with everything that was going on and that I thought I needed to do to be a good mom. And with Nate gone 11 to 12 hours every day, it wasn't for us. But coming out here meant we had to give that up. And what happens if this ranch, we can't keep it up? We can't make it work. It never makes a dime. We basically decided to come out here in July of 2014, and fear got in our way, and we could not. We ended up changing all of our plans and letting houses go and letting property go, and we just said we'll be those couples that gets a house or a cabin in the woods and we'll vacation there and we'll just raise our family in the city. It'll be okay. We'll compromise. And it wasn't even 6 months, because come that December, I called my father-in-law that I trust really well. He's a very, very reasonable man. And I just said, in the pit of my stomach, I'm doing the wrong thing. And Nate feels the same way too. And so it wasn't even 2 weeks later, we made an offer on the property that we own now. And we were out here by June. And Nate still kind of works for them. But anyway, in the last year, so from 2015 to 2016, right now, I have lived a life of pure joy every single day. It's crazy. It's very stressful because you never know if you're doing the right thing or if you're going to let someone down or if you're going to fail. You don't know. But you will miss out on so much of what life has to offer if you just don't go for it. If you just believe in yourself and go for it. because seriously, in the last year, I haven't seen my husband so happy. It's kind of rude how he walks around with this giant smile on his face, like there's no problems in the world. I've never seen someone enjoy what they do so much. I would never be able to have the experiences that we have, that my kids are part of everything we do. They move water lines with us. They move cows. We fish. We just checked the crawdad trap. My kids, we want to be part of each other's life. And one of the things that my husband asked what we did for fun when I was growing up was we went to the mall. And I was not going to be someone whose kids went to the mall when they were bored. I don't think my kids are ever going to be bored here. And if they are, that's on Nate and I, because anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, we would have missed out on so much, and there's still so much learning ahead of us. But Nate needed confidence in himself to know that he could raise cows the way that he wants to, and that he was willing to work hard enough to do that. And he's, read probably 1,000 books on sustainable land management, that it's ridiculous, but he didn't have the confidence until I just looked at him and said, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? You want it bad enough? We'll go and we'll work and we'll try. And if the worst thing that could happen is we move in with grandma while we try to pick things back up from, failing. Because failing it's not real, guys. Failing does not exist unless you quit. So don't. There's no reason to quit. You have all of these people here, all of this support. Sorry, that's Millie. Okay, so what does confidence mean to you? What does it look like? I want to know. It means being able to put myself out there and not care what others will think. That is a huge thing. Why do we do that? Why do we care? Why do we give an F what people think? Because here's the other thing. You could put that scenario through your head 1,000,000 times and you will still never be right, nail it on the head and know what they're thinking. I mean, probably 9.5 times out of 10, unless you really, really know that person really well, you don't know what they're thinking. So don't speculate. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of your energy. There's no point in caring what other people think. And if they're inhuman, yeah, they'll be assholes, but we're all human. So we all have this genetic need to be compassionate towards others. So just know that somewhere on the receiving end of whatever you do or say is a compassionate person. Maybe they're just working on it harder than you and I are. It means being able to overcome fears and doubts. If I had more confidence, I'd be able to be more outgoing and speak to people, make more friends. You don't need no more friends. You got 100 friends right here in this group. Just kidding. Being sure of myself. I feel I would be more successful if I was more confident in myself. Just realized how to chat. Tricky, huh? That's the thing is, we're all learning and growing, and every day, especially if you've got kids, you're getting taught and schooled every single day about life if you've got little kids at home. That helps, honestly. If you have one way to gain confidence is to look at the world and life through the eyes of a child. Because, man, they have no fear. They're not, literally, they're not afraid of anything or anyone. And the only fears that they get are from what we tell them to look out for. Because otherwise, they just have so much, they always say exactly what's on their mind. They always look at things in the most purest forms. That's a really good, go hang out with Alicia, being able to do it. Oh, where'd it go? Being able to do it and not care what others think. If I could stop doubting, I don't even know what I would be able to do. Wish to be more confident in general and everything. Why it's that way where I'm not, I don't know. I hope that all makes sense. We love you, Julie. I love you guys. Confidence means self-respect and pride. With those things strong, I can be confident in anything because who the F cares if I fail? Because I kick ass. Failing is a choice. Just readjust your sails. Where is the like button? what Kim said. Kim, why don't you elaborate, homie? I know that you're chasing babies, but I know that it's really hard to have confidence when you've gone through a lot of negative life. I don't know if negative is the right word, but unique life experiences early in life. Like confidence can stem from our childhood in a very big way, especially if, based on our parents, their parenting style and what life was like for us as a kid. But kind of like what Kim said, readjust. It's your choice. You either get stuck where you are and you fail because you're giving up on growth, or you grow and you change and you do the things that you feel are scary, and then you do them anyway, and then you find out really quick that they're not so scary. Add to it, girlfriend.
No, I totally agree. I think that, for me, like, confidence has built just recently and stuff, and everything because I have way more self-respect. Sorry, Hudson's like begging for something, and I don't understand. But I think that, like, for me, like, my fitness journey has helped because I've gone from, deciding I was done with being fat and unhappy and sluggish and feeling like crap about myself, just in all ways, not physically, but, physically and everything else. But also, like, so I was that, like, my very best physical shape, and then we got pregnant. And then I, had the most healthy pregnancy I've had, but I still, gained weight and all that, and now I'm back working on that. And this time around, I feel like I've, I like look in the mirror these days, and even though there's plenty that still needs to change and that I want to change, I look at it and I see, like, the things that I'm like, ooh, check out my muscles, or like, that shirt fits differently than it did even yesterday or a week ago or whatever. And I think that has carried over into lots of areas in my life, and I think that is what's built my own confidence. I've never been a super duper doubtful person in general, but, like, I think that it's helped because, and I mean, that has helped our marriage, that's helped, with raising 3 crazy kids and everything. So I think that, it's impossible not to tie it back to that, since we're coaches and so much of what we do is based off of health and fitness stuff. Like, that's the first thing that I, like, think of anytime I see anyone that's doubting themselves or something. I'm like, okay, whether it's just as cliche as saying, like, pick a program, stick to it, do it, and, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, tell me how you feel and tell me what you can, go and tackle next. Because, like, if you just go for it and build that, like, consistency and stuff, like, I think that's where confidence and respect come from. So that's about all I got for now. I'm all over the place.
You're right, because when you're doing a workout, and especially when it's a new one, like when I started Hammer and Chisel, I was like, this is gonna kill me, I should quit now. But when you challenge yourself and you overcome those challenges, I mean, you kind of do the thing that you didn't think you could do, and then you live through it, and you got stronger. That should bump up your confidence. I think it's a really good tip to just stick to something, stick to what you commit to, because you'll find out that you can do it. So
yeah, even if it's not a workout or a fitness thing or a meal plan or anything like that, just like whatever it is, find something that, for me, I think that's why it's working out, is like I don't really enjoy working out, but I enjoy how I feel and how it's getting me towards my goals and stuff. So, pick something that you enjoy and, like, consistently do it. And I have a hard time thinking that you wouldn't build confidence and self-respect and relatability and leadership. I mean, people want to see that. They want to do that themselves. And so,
even when you're working through it, you might feel really incapable and not confident at all. The person looking at you doing it anyway thinks you're confident, and they're like, oh, I want to be like her or him or whatever. And I'm not going to try to keep you guys any longer, but I have like 5 things to do on how to be more confident. And it kind of touches back on kind of what Kim is saying, so that's kind of why I'm going there. If you have questions while I'm reading these, just type them over here because I love to hear it and interact with you guys more. Number 1, stop comparing. It steals your joy. It steals your confidence. Nikki Whiting just posted a thing about how you cannot compare. So she is a superstar coach, like top 10 in the company. She just had a baby, and she said that she's been seeing all these other coaches do these things and have this postpartum journey or are going to Summit, but she's stuck at home, and she started comparing her life to what all these other people are doing. And as soon as you do that, you start to lack in the confidence that you used to have, or you start to feel depressed about yourself. So don't compare. In the minute that you start to compare, remind yourself of your own life, something that you should be thankful for, who you are, what you're living, what's in your life, all of it. Focus on you. Don't compare to what other people are doing. Number 2, relax. Just go with it. Life is filled with a million little things every single day. And as women, unfortunately, we are really good at stressing over the little things. Me personally, I turn the little things into giant things because I make up these hypothetical scenarios of what would happen that would stem from one little thing, and then they would create this big thing, and then I start to literally stress about the big thing that's not happened. It might not ever happen. So don't even sweat the little things. Just relax and go with it and live day to day, just kind of not going through the motions, but going without the motions of the little things. Just let them roll off your back. Number 3, love yourself. Like I was saying, there is no one else like you. You are a gift to this world, and nothing in your world would be the same without you. That alone gives you more qualification than anything to have confidence in this life. So, number 4, be positive and look for the good in every situation. You know that's something that Gandhi said. That was something that he practiced his whole life on, was believing that in every situation, the person was filled with good intent. If you believe that about life, honestly, you'll look at everything differently. Your confidence will improve. God, I've given this situation to so many people, and I don't know how it's reciprocated, but I hear stories about rapists. Okay, so I'm gonna go there because I have 2 little girls, and they were supposed to they went to swim lessons today, an hour away from us, because that's literally the closest place to go to swim lessons here. And I refused to let Olivia go by herself because they took the bus from the school here, a group of kids and a bunch of chaperones. I know these people, but I still was really not okay with letting people other than me or Nate go with her, because she's going to have to change her swimsuit, and she's going to have to go in this locker room, and I can't control who's in there, and I am a control freak. And so it was not going to happen, because my mind immediately went to the giant danger of what happened if someone took their eyes off of her for 5 seconds, and God forbid something awful happened to her. And I think about rape victims, and I think that's terrible. And I am in no way saying that it should be overlooked or sympathized with, but I do always wonder what happened in that person's life that would create the train of thought, I guess, that made them feel like they needed to be that person. We are all from different walks of life. We don't understand other people, and we never will, because they're not us and we're not them. So I always try to I don't feel like that person is 100% bad. I always believe there is some good intent in that person that's doing something awful. They're off track or whatever. But if you look at, sorry, that was a little off topic, but if you look at life like that, like there's always good intent, you will have more confidence just in general, because it kind of makes you feel happy and more positive. And when you're happier and more positive, you have more confidence. Okay, and then number 5, do what you love. Life is too short to waste your time on anything otherwise. And I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And it's the truth. There is no gray area. It's black or white on that. Number 5, life is too short. You never know. So fill your time with stuff that you're passionate about, that you love, that your life feels value from. And I swear that happiness and that joy translates into the level of confidence that you have to do things, because it's just the truth. When you're positive and you're happy, you have more confidence. Kim said, yes. Plus, I promise you are comparing yourself to the highlight reel, even if it's your best friend and you see them at their worst, quote unquote, you're not there with them 24/7. I bet you don't see their worst or biggest struggles. It's true. Every time you decide to compare yourself to someone else, you are quite literally comparing to the highlight reel of someone's life, because no one shares the, like, you know, I just got into a car accident and ran over my neighbor's cat because, you know, I was looking at my phone, because that would be a huge error or like imperfection to admit that you would do something like that other people are over there. Like, you hear people say all the time, you know, like, look at that idiot with they're on their cell phone while they're driving or whatever, you know that person's done it. So why compare? Why judge? Like, it's so silly. You know, things happen. Nobody is perfect. We're all human. So unless anybody has, I hope that was like even worth getting on tonight. Kim, I know you rarely do, so you're busy, but I'm so glad you're here. Alicia, so glad you're here. Emily jumped back on. Catherine and Kim, I'm so glad that you guys are on, and I really want to interact more with you guys. That's why I wanted to hear what you guys want to talk about going forward, because this team is about this team. It's not about what I have to say. It's not about how to build a business, because that's all laid out for you. All of that stuff. You know, everybody in this team, we're going to help each other do that, build the business. But this team, this is about community and support. And these are the opportunities, these Zooms, where we actually get to interact with each other. You know, life is super busy and we're all doing a million things at once. But by getting on here, you should be getting the value that this opportunity creates. And that's the community and the support. And so, you know, going forward, you know, we'll definitely have some strategic meetings where they're more detail oriented about very specific things about building a business or vital behaviors or whatever Beachbody related. But for a majority of it, I want us to take advantage that we're all here and we all need to get to know each other better and feel the support, because it's super unique. You know, there aren't a lot of opportunities out there where people get to do this. And I get a lot out of it. I hope you guys do too. You guys are kind of slowing down, so I don't know if my internet's being weird or what. Do a friend Zoom? Are you talking about like Friends, the TV show? Because I am obsessed. I was watching it before I came onto this. Sorry. Truth about me. Okay. I know there's a few of you on here East Coast time, so it's getting late. So if anyone has any questions, unmute yourself or comment over here. Or if anyone has anything they want to say, a Q&A Zoom. And go for it.
I just wanted to say sorry for jumping off. I really am sad that I had to get off of there.
You should be. I
know, right? But I'm excited to watch the recording. And I totally jumped off right when you were about to start talking about when you feel the least secure. And I really wanted to hear all of that. And it just was about to go down here. So
You're raising 3 babies. I totally understand. But I did kind of talk about that. I rambled quite a bit. So feel free to comment with questions after you watch it.
okay.
But basically the gist is, I think that fear to succeed is like anything else. If it's a fear, you just got to do it anyway because fear's not real. So
Well,
you got to define what success is first and then work towards it and then not be afraid of it. So I'm glad you brought that up though.
I
Okay,
realized
Jimmy's,
this a week ago or a couple weeks ago. So it's a newfound fear of mine.
I hate to tell you this, Emily, but you're already succeeding. I mean,
That's what's terrifying. That's why I'm terrified.
you're already on that path, babe. So,
Yeah.
and you're ridiculous. By the way, you guys, Emily just came up with this new why that is like gives me chills. And I don't like telling anyone else's story. Like I can never articulate someone's story better than they could. But Emily's why is like basically her picture grew. And it's like chilling. And I don't know, I think every time you do that, every time you like add to what your goal is, your goal becomes bigger, right? So then you have even more reason to be afraid of it. Because honestly, if you just chose not to pursue it, you're not going to fail because you're not even going to go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well,
there's that fear that stops you because you're like, nah, it would be easier if I just, left that whole goal alone and it just sat up there on the shelf.
Yeah.
But you got to go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I'm coming out. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you guys on Thursday, this Thursday, 4 days or something like that, 3 days. We're going to do the normal time Zoom. This is kind of a makeup from missing Thursdays. And we haven't chosen a topic yet because the poll is still going. So vote on that and we'll pick a topic real soon. But I hope to see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for signing on. Kim, thanks for hosting.
Yeah, of course.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah.